Hello and welcome to Books and Beyond. I'm your host, Jimmy Bennet, and Books and Beyond is the show where we help people personify their aspirations. And before we get to my guest today, I have a couple of announcements. I want to put a plug in for the Southeast Connecticut chapter of the Connecticut Authors and Publishers Association. We meet every third Monday at the Groton Public Library at 6:30, and anybody interested in writing, illustrating, or book agents, editors, we encourage you to come down. It's a great group of people, it's good networking, and a lot of inspiration. And we're there, so come on by. And also, I'm going to put in a little plug for Toastmasters. I belong to the Mystic Aquarium chapter. We meet the second and fourth Wednesdays of every month at the Mill Center. And if you want to learn how to speak in public, how to do better presentations, or just basically improve your vocabulary and your speaking skills, it's a wonderful organization. I encourage you to stop and check that. And then one more shameless plug is for my new books. I have a new series out called William Gillette in Mystic. I use my character William Gillette, the famous actor who portrayed Sherlock Holmes. And these books are set in our local community. The first book, Mayan Mystery, is set in Mystic in 1932, and the other book, Two Birds, is set in Noank in 1922. And not just the mystery involved with it, but I put a lot of historical people, places, landmarks. So it's a way for people to learn about all these roads that you drive down, like Blinderman Avenue and Hoxie Fire Company, but you never knew who those people were. I'm trying to let people learn this and learn the rich history of Mystic before it was such a tourist trap. Anyways, so let me get to my guest, my very special guest today. I have two. I have Mary Diduk and Deanna Caty, and they are from Traveling Toys. So tell me a little bit about your organization and how you got started and what you're doing.
Well, Jimmy, thank you for having us here today. Diana and I have been friends for a really long time. And so we wanted to do something where we could give back to the community. And we believe that all children should have the ability to have the joy and the benefits of play. So we started Traveling Toys so that we could provide access to toys and games with partnering with public libraries. And it's the same thing as kind of like book lending. You just check out a toy and they can either play with them for 3 weeks, or take them home for 3 weeks, or play with them on site. And all you need is a library card. But we knew then that the benefits of play even go beyond what we understand of them, because children need play for their early development and learning, and teens actually need play so they can have that sense of collaboration and connection that they lost during COVID especially. So we felt that the impacts of this toy lending library would really come into place with environmental sustainability and also lessening the burden for families financially. So we started Traveling Toys, and we opened our first toy library in October of 2021, and we haven't stopped since. And Diana will tell you a little bit more about how we operate.
So we started in the pandemic, and we got a little bit of a slow start, obviously, because libraries were closed. And then what happened was, in the last 2 years, we have had so much momentum. We've received so much funding that we now have 19 toy libraries in Connecticut, and we have funding for 12 more. Our circulation numbers are well beyond what we ever imagined. In 2023, we had 22,000 toys circulating in Connecticut. And in 2024, when I was calculating the numbers in December, I called Mary and I said, I need to really double check this, or we need to make sure this is right, but I'm looking at 70,000 toys are circulating in Connecticut. And
wow.
And because of relationships with libraries, one of the directors actually moved to, he left the Connecticut Library and actually retired, and then he took another job on Block Island. And so because of that relationship, he called us and said, could you help us on Block Island? So we now are having our first Rhode Island toy lending library, and it'll probably open in August. So we're
Wow.
just, and on top of that, we have our first international project in Lviv, Ukraine, which is we are funding 6 play spaces in the preoperative and postoperative spaces within the St. Nicholas Hospital. And we're partnering with Kids OR, which is an international nonprofit, and they they want to promote all children to have access to safe surgery. So there's been so much growth, and we're really happy where we are, but we feel as if we have so much more to do. And I'm sorry, I did just realize that the other partner that we have, we're primarily partnering with libraries, and the hospital was obviously that's the first hospital we have, but we also are partnering with a middle school in New Britain, and we hope to get funding for it's Pulaski Middle School for their after-school programs. So that's another whole area that we want to explore, because we feel as if libraries are our main partner, and we feel as if children and teens can access it. And with the schools, though, I think the challenge is the location of some of the libraries. And so if they're located in an area where the kids can't get to, then being in schools would be a large benefit to children and
Partner
teens.
with the school libraries.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So where primarily are the libraries in Connecticut that you have this program in?
So our first one started in Westbrook, and then we pretty much have taken over the shoreline.
Yeah, we're central and eastern, really.
Yes,
Okay.
Groton was our 4th library that opened.
Oh, so you are in
Yes,
Groton.
and a big shout out to Groton Utilities for funding that project twice for us.
Yeah.
A typical library has about 100 toys, and sometimes they do 50 toys plus duplicates, so if one's checked out, there's another one. Sometimes they like to do just 100 different toys, and so in the children's categories, we have animals, vehicles, pretend kits, music, building and STEM, and then we just added sensory toys to that, along with board games for children. And so this is what the children will get when they check it out. They have a nice container with the toy inside, it protects
Brings
it.
back memories of my
It
kids.
reminds the parent that there's something that came home with them. And the nice thing is the toys that we select really are, so if you lose one dinosaur, you can still play with the other ones.
Right.
So we don't want it to be that if something happens to that toy, then it wouldn't be operable. And so when we went to the teens, we didn't start off with teens, but the Community Foundation of Eastern Connecticut said, look, we love this idea, but could you add teens? We have a space for them, and they need this since COVID. And so ever since that, we've always included teens. And when people say to us, what are teen toys? Well, I have teen boys, so they've been really great at helping me with the list. But teen toys are board games, puzzles, video games, videos, equipment, very, very hot right now in the libraries. And also Dungeons and Dragons has come back, thanks to Stranger Things. And then we have circuitry, and then now we have a section of kind of tools, like the bike pump and things like that the teens can use.
So where does your funding come from?
Well, we basically concentrate on local funding, because we feel as if the donors really know the communities and they see the need, and we've been very successful with reaching out to. Our funding comes from community foundations, private donors, banks, utility company, or the Groton Utility was a major donor, the Rotary clubs, the Friends of the Library, but we've raised money on Facebook, and we've had a recent fundraiser at the Madison Racket and Swim Club. And so we just feel as if the support is right here, and it's been really wonderful. I mean, Groton, as an example, we received money for Groton from Dime Bank and Groton Utilities, and when we opened the library, we knew the need was very high in Groton, and we went back about nine months or a year later and realized there was hardly anything on the shelf. I mean, I walked in and thought, where are all the toys? And of course I knew they were checked out. And so when we even first opened it, we talked to Groton Utilities, and they said, you know what, if there's more of a need, come back, and we fully support this program, and we'll fund you. And they did. And so we just want everyone to know that we we are committed to the long-term success of these libraries, and feel as if for some reason the need grows and they need more money, we have been able to find the money. And so that makes us feel as if, people, as time goes on, people know that we will do this for them. And so I think that that's how the word has kind of gotten around throughout libraries, that, contact them, because, initially people didn't, when you contacted people, they really weren't sure who we were. And, a few of the librarians said, or directors, why don't you come back in a year? And we thought, oh, no problem, we'll find another library. And almost everyone we contacted initially has come back, or we've gone back to them to say, are you ready? Because sometimes they're understaffed and they just don't have the manpower. But we feel as if the libraries are at the heart of their communities, and they already have the mechanism for borrowing in place. And it just has worked out so well to have all these collections within the children's section and the teen section of these libraries.
Well, my boys are both grown, but I thought about this, and it would have been wonderful when they were younger. I mean, as a parent, there's a lot of toys and stuff that you buy them at Christmas time, birthdays,
right.
All the things. They play with them once,
So
toss them aside.
they have statistics on that.
And it takes a while for them to finally find what they're interested in. Now, my son was really into dinosaurs, so it's like most.
Yeah,
I'm sure that must be a
4-year-old
big
age,
thing.
yeah.
But it's sort of be a neat way for parents to see, oh, hey, he really likes this type of thing,
Right.
and he likes.
Try before you buy.
Yeah, right, and also, like you say, it'll also help develop skills.
Yeah.
Keep interest. I mean, kids will learn if they're interested.
Well, and I think also for parents, I think it's very helpful for them and their children to socialize and to get kids together, because sometimes you don't have time to organize a group for your children, and you find that our larger libraries, there are families that come in, and there are 20 children a day that they serve, and some of the libraries really didn't, they set it up so it was just lending. So you just came in and checked out a toy and brought it home, and then would bring it back. But what they found was that the families, they wanted to come and stay. And so they said, you know what, we're happy to have this happen here. So I think we didn't anticipate that either, that would be the effect of it, but even talking to friends over the past few years, that's what they did too. When they had a day off, they just brought their kids to the library. I mean, I live in Guilford, and I went to the library about 2 weeks ago on a Sunday afternoon with my granddaughter, and there must have been 10 other children, 10 other parents, and everyone's just having a really nice time, and toys are available for them to play right there. And it's easy, it's accessible, and we just feel as if we're in the right place to provide for so many children in every community.
So we also offer furniture. So like if a library wants to enhance their space, the kitchen, the pretend kitchen is very popular. And so then the kids come in and play with the pretend fruit, and it kind of makes their space, what like Diana was explaining, just a really warm, welcoming place for the kids, and the parents sit there and they watch their kids play. And
Well, I've noticed at Groton Public Library, like I said, my kids are grown now, so I don't really pay that much attention to the children's section. But I do see a lot of families in there, and I see a lot of kids, and they seem to do more exhibitions and displays, and I see kids in there playing, but I never really thought what they were playing with, or
Right.
what they, I thought you brought your kids and pick out a children's book and bring it home and read to them.
And so when
now libraries, like when we always look at their programming, because that helps us understand how many children they're going to serve. And when you look, like we just opened in Scranton in Madison in June, they have 1,000 programs for children and teens that they run in a year. And 10,000 people use that library month. So you can just see that this is a resource that just is additive to all their other programs. A lot of libraries have the Library of Things, where if you want to, get a certain power tool or something like a pizza oven, you can have that. And so this kind of fits right into what libraries are
See, I
offering.
didn't know that, but that's kind of an interesting thing too. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
now, where do the toys come from?
Well,
The toys. Well, the toys, we have a list. We created a list of 120 toys that Diana and I have worked on it over the past 5 years and used what the libraries have told us, like to make it better.
So when
we offer that to the librarians, and they select the toys they want. And that's when we were saying they select between 50 and 100 toys. And then the teens, we also give them a list, and then they select them.
So when we initially meet with the libraries, what we have is we usually have a funding source that we're thinking of, and then we have to create a budget to submit with the grant. And so we work with them with our suggested list. And no library is really the same because they may pick 60% of our toys, and they have other ideas for what they want, and we work together to make sure that they fit what they pick. They fit within these containers, so it makes sense for even storage for them. And then we work hard to sort of get that grant just right, and then we obviously all kind of wait for a few months till they decide. But then once we receive the funding, which we have a very high success rate, what we do is we review the list again together, and then the libraries buy the toys. They own the toys, and then we help them with. They have to catalog them, and which is it's work for them to go through every toy, but they usually have that in place, and then we help them with unpacking, with sizing all the toys. And we were just in Cromwell for a couple of hours going through all the toys and just helping them get it organized, because we know they're incredibly busy with their programs in the summer.
Do you take used toys? I mean, if people donate toys and stuff?
The libraries will take used toys. It depends on the library, but we don't, because we have looked at used toys, and a lot of the stuff that comes in, it's almost at the end of its life.
Yeah.
So when we start new, we start a new life, and we actually extend the life of that. I will add that when we looked at all these toys, we looked at all the reviews for durability. We do not include anything with fabric, so it's easy to clean. And we have a natural spray that you just spray on and you leave it. And
they're not having to go rinse. So things like that they just get sprayed, and then then they can go back on the shelf and they're clean. So that solution came from LA. Where they have
corporate America, are they doing anything to help out?
So Magnetiles, when we were on the Kelly Clarkson show, we were really excited at the end of the show that she told us Magnetiles was giving us $5,000.
Oh, wow.
So
I didn't see that part. That's
we
great.
love Magnetiles.
I'm sorry, we don't have that kind of budget.
No,
you're moving up on the television ladder, but
No, I think
that's typically the amount that it costs to do a full library is about $5,000, and we can do different phases. So if we don't get the full funding, we'll start the library with half whatever we get, and then we'll go back and we'll make sure that we can get it, because we know, like what Diana was describing about Groton, that happens. Like you go into libraries that wanted to start small because they were worried about having too many toys, and they don't have anything on the shelves. So
now I'm sure you got criteria too for what type of toys. I mean, obviously you don't have Red Ryder BB guns with compass in the stock, and I think would be more controversial toys.
Right. Yeah, we stay away from anything like that.
I mean, I was wondering if you had any blowback or people saying, no, we don't want. Especially, I was just saying today in this woke world, people are getting kind of crazy about what kind of toys.
We're fairly careful with, when you think about dinosaurs, vehicles, Magnetiles, building.
The doctor kit, that's
the doctor
very
kit.
popular.
I don't think there's really been anything that anyone said we're really careful with our list, and also we work with the librarians, so I think that between all of us, I think the lists have been, fine as far as we're hearing such positive feedback from all the communities that they're thrilled to have this, ability to go in and borrow toys and have the kids try them, and really have the children really be part of sort of an environment that's all about learning and community, and That's been
Well,
our
yeah,
feedback.
Personally, I mean, I think it's like a wonderful idea, especially like board games and stuff like that. Something you could play with your children, but you play a board game 5-6 times.
Right.
You know.
You don't need to keep it in your house.
Right. You don't need to
No.
keep it in your house.
Yeah.
You don't need to store it.
No.
You know, get rid of it.
And you can actually go in and play there. I mean, for the most part, the teens don't check out the items. They stay there and play with them.
But you know, the interesting thing about Groton is they have the highest circulation of board games. Like out
Really?
of all of our libraries, yeah, she says she can't really keep them on. And so that just shows that families are using them, not just, you know, when you think the teens, but
Now, teens, you say video games
video games, yeah.
and sometimes systems.
Yeah, we usually have the Nintendo Switch or
Okay.
PlayStation, depending on what they want. The VR is very popular now.
Right.
Kids love that. The teens love that. Adults love that. So
And they're
Yeah.
holding tournaments within libraries, so kids from other towns come. I mean, it's really become
Well, that's
a
what I
very
was thinking,
social
like,
event.
especially like you mentioned Dungeons and Dragons.
Yep.
I remember a game that we played, Risk, and you know, there's a lot of board games like that that really, man, I remember we used to spend weeks, months playing, and I think it's a good way to introduce people to things and learn that. You know, like I said, they might really enjoy playing with other people, competing.
Right.
You know, especially you know a lot of people play video games now, and they're playing with people in China and,
Right.
and across the world and across the the United States. So it's kind of an interesting thing. Now the video games must be a little tough to pick out. Do you guys have criteria for?
the ones we have are rated for, you know, a young adult. And
Okay.
the library, we provide a list that most of the libraries already have, and then they decide if they want to have them or more. And so
Right.
when we were working with Guilford and Madison, they had, like, Guilford had 70 video games already, Madison had 200. So we said, well, you already have most of these things. And they said, oh, no, there's more things we want. So
Wow.
they're always coming out with new things. And
Yeah, I have to admit I'm not up on the video gaming world, but most people under 40, 50. Well, now they're saying a lot of older Americans
Well, and I think
are playing. It said it keeps your cognitive.
yeah,
Right.
there's a lot of
Abilities going and-
research that shows that.
And when we first were starting this, when we added teens to our model, you know, we both realized that it's really important for teenagers and children to be part of the conversation. So if the families, if they can't afford video games or video equipment, then they're really left out of a conversation, and they, you know, it's hard. And I feel as if it's important to have you know, this available to them. And obviously, you know, we love the fact that board games are really back, and we're providing puzzles and other things. But I think that component is important for a certain, you know,
Yeah.
group, because you just want people. That's the hard part about being a teenager, you know.
Right,
Yeah.
You want to. Everybody wants to fit in.
Right.
right. I see that. I mean, I can see where. I have to say, I was one of those people very skeptical about social media and video games, and you know, how can these kids waste their time and that. But you know, really, when you think about it, and I've thought about this a lot, they really it gives them skills that they're going to need in the future, because let's face it, the world's going to go digital. It's going to go AI. It's going to go, you know what I mean? Even now, I mean, as foreign as to me, you know, people pull out their phones and pay
Right.
for things.
Well, that's
you know?
the thing is most kids, teens, they can play games on their phone anyway.
Right.
So this is just more for the ones that, you know, that are expensive to buy. But, you know, there is a lot of support for video games helping you, like when you're working with someone in a game, to figure out strategy, hand-eye coordination, superimposing things. You have to do it like
Yeah.
that, and it really helps
Right.
develop your brain that way. Like my husband does robotic surgery, and when when he's on the robot, it's all of, like, what he says is the components of how things work in a video game.
Yeah.
So I think there, you know, with AI especially coming, there's going to be a lot of different jobs and things that we don't even know.
Yeah,
that
but
are-
I think too for the teenage years, I think it's, you know, when we go to these different libraries and see the teen spaces, the libraries are really making teens a priority, and so I think that's really good for that age group, because they have a great place to be, and they can, interact, they can socialize, they're in a safe place, and they, whether they can verbalize it now or not, but, the community has made them a priority. And I think that's, children they've always been children's rooms and libraries, or, as far as I can remember. But for teens, I think this is a new, is new, and I think it's really important.
So when we were working with New Britain, they said that the teens were the last to come back to the library after COVID. They said the elderly were the first ones in the door. So we put in our grant a food allowance to get them back with pizza, and it really works. Like if you offer free pizza, more teens come.
Yeah, we should do that. We should do that more.
And then they see the toys, and then they couldn't believe, like, wow, you have all this here. So you just need to get them there to show them what's available. And
I think even
really great.
Even in Ansonia, they came in and they were playing with, I think it was a mini ping pong table, and actually they asked the librarian, her name is Jen Short, and they said, can we come back? And she said, you can come back every day. And she used, it was from her, she said, we want it to be that we're part of their routine, we're part of their life. And so I think that's what, we're so impressed with all the librarians we meet, because they're really committed to helping the kids, and when we talk about budgets, they really know what they want. So we defer to them. We're very happy to say,
Well, as an author, I like anybody in the library, because I do feel the reading's dropped off so much. And maybe while they're there, they'll go, maybe I'll look at a book. Who knows?
Right.
Now, another thing I think is wonderful is the hospitals. I mean, children's hospitals and stuff, I'm sure a lot of them probably have rooms with a few toys and stuff, but
they mostly do toy drives in this country, so they're not lending libraries. But in Ukraine, what it is we're not doing a lending library. We're providing funding for play spaces, so that before an operation or after, they have sort of a beautiful space, which will, I think, it'll help with the stress of having surgery for everybody.
Well, some children are in long term too. You know what I mean? So what is your hopes for the future?
Well,
do you have hopes?
We
do. You're just riding the wave.
Well, we always say there's 169 towns in Connecticut, and we'd like to be in every town. We're expanding in, like Diana said, in Rhode Island, and we feel like we will go anywhere that someone wants help in setting up a toy library.
So I think that because of the Kelly Clarkson Show, we've been contacted by a number of people, and we're reaching out to them to see what the needs are. But as far as for now, our priorities are Connecticut and Rhode Island. And so if anyone is interested and would like to contact us, we'd be happy to.
Well, I gotta say, I think it's just a wonderful thing you're doing, and I know you must put a lot of time and effort into it.
We do.
On top of having your own life. So I really appreciate. I mean, that's the kind of people that I really like to have on my show. Is people that are giving back to the community and enhancing the community.
Thank you.
And I really thank you guys. I mean, this is a wonderful program, and I hope that people will really, embrace it and take on, and I hope help with a little donation here, guys. So that's great. I hope that I wish you all the success in the world. I'd love to see you in every town.
Yeah, we would too. Thank you.
So. Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thanks for having us.
I hope as you grow and expand, maybe we'll have you back and
that'd be great.
Work on the next one. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jimmy.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. That's all for Books and Beyond this show. We'll see you next time. Thank you.